What's the sign of Jesus' return? When's the world going to end? When's it going to be? Huh? Let's think about that. Hey, my name's Justin Harrell. I challenge you to challenge yourself to think about less taught biblical topics. It's popular today to hear people talking about the end of the world. There are plenty of movies and TV shows with doom and gloom. To most people, the end of the world means total destruction, the end of all life on Earth.
Most impressive.
No, that's not it. The world doesn't end. The age ends, and we move into another era, one where Jesus has returned to the planet to govern with truth and justice.
Okay, but when's it gonna happen?
You know, Jesus' disciples had the same questions. In Matthew 24, verse 3, they come to Jesus on the Mount of Olives, overlooking the temple from the east. As they gaze down in wonder at all the marvelous buildings, Jesus tells them they'll all be destroyed. This is their great architectural achievement of their day. These buildings are connected to their culture, religion, and government, their very way of life. The last time they were destroyed, the nation collapsed and the people were led captive to Babylon. If Jesus told you this, it would get your attention. Wouldn't you want to know when? So you could prepare? But Jesus doesn't exactly tell them when, does he? Jesus doesn't give us a starting point. He tells us about an event midway through the last 7 years of this age, and then he gives us the sign of his actual return to earth, but there's just no way to know when this stuff begins. Matthew 24, 15-22. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, whoever reads, let him understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let him who is on the housetop not go down to take anything out of his house. And let him who is in the field not go back to get his clothes. But woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing babies in those days. And pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath. For then there shall be great tribulation, such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. Jesus refers his audience back to Daniel. Daniel chapter 9 lays the framework. In Daniel chapter 9 verse 24, the angel Gabriel tells Daniel that the prophecy is for your people and your holy city. This prophecy is for Jews and Jerusalem. That's the audience. Then Jesus, speaking with Jews, gives more details on this prophecy and then adds some advice. Flee to the mountains. Pray that it's not in the Sabbath or the winter, because that would make travel a lot more difficult. There will be some sort of covenant broken halfway through. Daniel talks about weeks, literally sevens. But it's clear from context and history that it's not talking about sevens of days, but sevens of years. Knowing this, Daniel 9 verse 27 would read, Then he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 7. But in the middle of the 7, he shall bring an end to sacrifice and offering, and on the wing of abomination shall be one who makes desolate, even until the consummation which is determined is poured out on the desolate. Breaking the covenant is what Jesus gives as the first marker. This is way into the end of the story though at this point. How do we know when it starts? Well, if we back up in Matthew chapter 24, we see Jesus' response to his disciples. And by the way, Mark chapter 13 tells us it was Peter, James, John, and Andrew. Matthew 24, 4-8. And Jesus answered and said to them, Take heed that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. And you will hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. When, Jesus? And his response is, don't be deceived? Watch out? Jesus is telling us what to watch for. Not so that we know when he is coming, but that we aren't deceived. It's popular to hear people say that
Wars and rumors of wars remind us that Jesus' return is close. Look at the increase of pestilences, the increase of earthquakes in various places. The Lord's return is drawing near.
Jesus said all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. These are not signs. Jesus is saying, don't be deceived. This doesn't mean the end. And where are we today? Deceived, thinking war and pestilence means the Lord's return is near. That being said, you should still be ready, because you don't know the future. You don't know when the end of the age is, and you don't know your last day on this earth. Jesus was prepping his disciples for the long haul. He wanted them to be serving and sharing the gospel their entire life. Humans have a tendency to slack off when they know they're near the end of something. 12th grade students get senioritis. People nearing retirement get vacationitis. You care less and less about your current situation because you know a transition is right around the corner. Jesus doesn't want that to happen to his followers. He wants us to always be concerned about this world, to always be sharing the gospel, to always be making disciples, to always be ready for a world full of turmoil and suffering. Here's what he told his disciples, Matthew 24:9-13. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will be offended and will betray one another and will hate one another. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many. And because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. Jesus warns his disciples that being a Christian is not all that popular. It's a hard road full of suffering. But don't give up. Press on to the end. Wars, famines, earthquakes, pandemics. These are not the signs you're looking for. It's something you should think about.